Why hello there, bookworms. Today is actually Sunday. I'm uploading this a little bit late. I had a photography event this weekend, so between that and my car being broken this week and thus being out of town, staying with my boyfriend so I could actually go to work, I didn't have a camera with me to film a video. That's a lie. I did try to film one on my iPhone, but earlier this week I dropped said iPhone and so the screen doesn't work, so it didn't actually record the video that I tried recording on it. So yeah, and I didn't really have access to the video to see if it worked. Yay! So today we are going to be doing a talk about all of the books I am working on writing in some way, shape, or form. So, as you may know, I am working on my senior thesis. I have talked a lot about that. I don't have anything to show you for that, so we'll just go briefly into that. That one I am working on currently right now. I am writing it. It is called The First Ritual, and a ritual is a word that I created, which means the blessed or the chosen, and it is a story about a elf named Matron who has been chosen or blessed by the god or goddess with these powers to control the 5 elements, and he goes on a journey to understand himself and his powers, as well as try to bring more peace between the elves and the humans that are in this world, and to make them more friendly with each other, because they just finished a war, so they're kind of like so it's all about that and the issues he finds with working within the magic within himself to understand it and control it, while people in his family and in society around him don't like a friendship he has with a human named Serena. So that's my thesis. What else am I working on? I am also working on the other series that is in that world. So this binder contains 2 books with a draft, 2 drafts of the first book and a draft of the second book. This is, originally I called it The Rituals, or Cabanarel Lake, which is where everything takes place in the first book for about the first 60 pages. But I am thinking, this is not set in stone, thinking of renaming the books Crumbling Kingdoms and then Something Kingdoms, because Crumbling Kingdoms fits better because all the kingdoms are, in fact, crumbling as another force comes. So, brief intro into the first book, which would be Crumbling Foundations, a descendant of Matron. In order to find these descendants of Matron, whenever a elf comes of age at 100 or a human child comes of age at 17, they're all tested in each of the kingdoms to see if they have the specific power that is the high point in that kingdom. So for Cabanarel Lake and the city of Cabanarel, it is water. So the main character, Shauna, is tested and is found out that she is the ritual, the blessed, was chosen of Cabanarel Lake for this generation that has the ability to control water. And throughout history, since Matron was born, people usually can control one power. So she can control water. And there's a force called the Dark Ones that are still really against the idea of humans and elves being friends and thus mixing. And they don't like the idea that a human could have a bit of elf within her to control those powers. So the Dark Ones come and pretty much take over her kingdom, and she has to flee. And she goes on a mission and a quest to try to find the other rituals, because it's been rumored that the other kingdoms have fallen as well because of the same thing. So she needs to go find the other rituals so they can get together to stop the Dark Ones and also be together so they can all try to understand their powers together, similar to Matron's journey. So the first and second book in this series are, the first one is mainly about Shauna's life as it gets destroyed by the Dark Ones and she has to flee, and her sister, she has a twin sister, and it's their story, and it's a multi-POV story, so there's at least 8 point of views in this story. I may have to cut some out, so yeah, it was 11, but I need to cut some down. There's 5 rituals, and yeah, so that is the series, and it's all within the same world, obviously, as my thesis. So I am finishing writing the second book, which is kind of on a back burner, and these are both on the back burner until I finish my thesis, because I have completely created a new character who was sort of a character in the first book, but I want her to be a bigger character now that she is in the first story, and I would need to rewrite her character and make her a more prominent character all within it. And she is one of my favorite characters to write in my thesis, so I know I'm gonna have fun rewriting her. So I need to rewrite another draft of these, and work her back into the story and include all the things that I've thought of since writing my thesis. Another book that I am working on is editing a book that I wrote. Oh, so with these, obviously I'm writing my thesis now. The second book I wrote last year for Camp NaNoWriMo, and I previously wrote a little bit of it, but mainly wrote it for Camp NaNoWriMo. Actually, no, I wrote it all for NaNoWriMo, not Camp NaNoWriMo. So I wrote the first 50,000 words during NaNoWriMo. The first book in that series I started when I was in 8th grade. I had a dream, and I have since built out the character. It originally just started from Shauna's point of view, but I know that there is a lot more to the story. So that this book series has been rewritten multiple times. Within this binder, I actually still have the original pages, the original 86 pages that I wrote on loose leaf when I was in the summer of like my 8th to 9th grade. So yeah, that story has come a really long way. The next book that I want to talk about is called Silver Manor. And I wrote this in the November of my freshman year, so 2014. My freshman year of college, that is. This book was a story that had been sitting with me for a while. Originally, I pictured it as a fantasy. And it grew and changed and is now set somewhere within England. It's not an actual place. It's a historical fiction, so put that out there. It's a historical fiction, and it's put right before the beginning, sort of in the beginning of World War I. Excuse me, so bits of that pops up in it, but it's not really a prominent part of it. It's more of a historical romance, I should say. Romance mystery. And it takes place over a decade, but it starts at one point and then jumps to the future. So it's about a girl named Rose, and she is an heiress to Silver Manor. And her father is in extreme debt because of a fire that happened in a town that he used to pay everyone back, and he pretty much used the entire fortune to pay for his town and his city, because otherwise no one would be able to support each other. But he didn't want to tax the people to get the money back after just rebuilding everything, and thus he was out a lot of money and is pretty much bankrupt. So the story starts with him trying to figure out what to do for that. And he sets up an arranged marriage with a lord who is a very dubious lord. His name is Lord Cicero. And it's the day of Rose's 8th birthday that this happens. And so that happens, and then the Lady of Silver Manor, Elaine, is murdered. And no one can figure out what happened to her. The police don't know, and her murder goes unsolved for 11 years. And then 9 years, and then jumps forward to Rose's, right before Rose's 17th birthday and her coming of age ball, where she will be a debutante and come out into society and can start courting. Her father allows her to try to court, even though he's fairly certain that he will have to go through with this arranged marriage, because he has been able to keep them afloat, but not really profit from anything. So he's fairly certain that she's going to have to go through this arranged marriage, but for the sake of face, really, he lets her go through with it, and she ends up meeting a doctor, and pretty much falling for him very quickly in comparison to the Lord's son, who is just, he's an asshole. When I was writing him, I wanted to make him a combination of Draco Malfoy and Prince King Joffrey. You can see how he would be a brat, but he is smarter than Joffrey, so he's more like Draco. But that is the basis for Darius, and she doesn't want to marry him, but she also, as she's coming of age and trying to understand things that has happened in her past, she really wants to figure out what happened to her mother. So with the help of the doctor, she attempts to solve that mystery, and yeah, I really like this book. I have tried to agent this book, but have not gotten super far with it. So I'm gonna work on an edit of it. I am hoping that by the end of the year I can get through another edit of it. It is about 60,000 words, so there's some things that I want to tweak with it, but it's mainly just editing and grammar and things like that at this point with it, and then hopefully I can get it out again. Other story that I am working on, so again, most of these are on the back burner while I work on my thesis, but another one that I'm working on is actually available to be read. So, my camera cut out with the last few projects that I talked about, so I wanted to talk about those real fast. Yes, we have moved. I was getting ready to film another video. So, another one that I would like to work on is called Divisions. It's actually the first book that I ever wrote. It's actually more of a short story. It is available on Wattpad, because I put it there as a sort of public, personal reminder that you start from one point and you get to another point. It is about a girl who can see into the future, but her visions aren't always correct. She's the heir to the queendom of Joyeta, and she goes out because they do a monthly stipend to a nomadic community so that they don't fight them and try to kill them, and she gets kidnapped. And it's all about that, and I want to rewrite it so that it's longer, because there's a ton of things that I could have added to that, but I didn't know because I was in 8th grade and I didn't know how to plot at all. You may remember me talking about that if you watched my writer's life tag, or writer's tag, I forget what it's called, but I will link that video somewhere here. Is there space there? I'll link it there. Other one I talked about was another short story that I wrote called The Beast, because I'm so cliche and I need to rename it. It's about a girl who goes on a camping trip and is attacked by what everybody else thinks is a bear, but she knows was a wolf, a massive wolf. It was a werewolf. And afterwards she's completely disfigured with all these scars, and she goes back into the woods to try to reclaim herself and be like, yo, I can do this. Screw all you people that says I can't do stuff. And she goes and ends up finding the guy that originally attacked her, but he has been attacked by his pack, so he looks how she looked when she was injured, and then she ends up getting all entangled with the pack. So yeah, those are pretty much all of the things. There's a couple others that I won't go into detail today. Those are all the projects I'm working on. Leave a comment down below with a description of one of the projects that you are working on. Subscribe if you aren't, so you know when I can post new videos. I normally post them on Saturday, but today was a little different due to life circumstances. Thank you for being accommodating and not being rude down below. Hit the little thumb if you liked this video, which I hope you did. All of my social media links will be down below, and I will see you next week. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
much, then all at once you were just enough. You're just right, you're the perfect temp in my coffee cup, one I've overslept. You are complete, the final chord in the even beat. You're the perfect rhyme in the perfect time. Please can I make you mine?